Welcome to Tracardi channel, where we present modern ways to increase customer experience with your internal data. Extending Tracardi may be very important. If your team learns how to add new plugins to Tracardi, you'll be able to extend any system there is. That's why I decided to live code the plugin in public, so you can see that it's fairly simple and you can learn it. Okay then, let's get started. We need this plugin that will be able to add and remove segments from the profile inside Tracardi, and I decided to write it publicly so you can see how to write your own plugins. Let's start with this. I've created a project in PyCharm, also created a repository where I will be committing the changes. I will create a scaffold for the plugin. To do that, you will have to pip install Tracardi CLI. I have it already installed, and now I can type Tracardi, and here we go. I have a command line. So Tracardi plugin scaffold. It will create all the necessary files for the plugin. And now I have to type a name for my plugin. I will call it Tracardi. This is our convention. We start with Tracardi and dash, and then plugin name. I will name it segment. Oh, maybe like this: profile segment. Segmentation. Profile segmentation. Short description. This. Okay, author, my name. There is a class name, so I will type this is a profile. I have new files here, and now I will have to install all the requirements. So I pip install server requirements. All the requirements are installed in my virtual environment. Okay, and I have a file name, plugin. How it works? We have two methods. One is init, the other is run. The init method will run when the workflow starts. So if we have like 5 or 6 nodes in the workflow, all those nodes will be called with the init method. The order of calling the method is, let's say it's random. There is no way we can tell which one is called first. And then there is a run method. This method is run when the workflow is running and it's calling the actions with a certain order. The order is determined by the way you create the workflow. Let me show you this. I have a simple workflow created. You can see that there's the back node, start and to ends node. When we run it, you can see that the nodes are numbered. The init function will be called just randomly. All the nodes will be initiated. But when we run it, the workflow determines which node should be run first and just makes an order of running nodes, and all the run methods will be run in this order. This one, this, and this. Let's go back to our code. So this is the method that will be run depending on the workflow, and here we type our code. We can make a simple hello world and we'll see how it works in our workflow. What I do, I will just replace the payload with the hello world message hello world, and that's it. To run this node, I will have to add it to Tracardi. I will bind it to my code right now. I will open a Tracardi segmentation, attach it, run the server. I will need a plugin module. I have to paste it here. Plus an action module, enter, segment profile. Oh no, this one. Profile, Tracardi profile segmentation. This is my new node. It doesn't have any configuration. It has my name, nothing else. Okay, just connect it and see how it's working. Now just run it, it's 3, and see the output. Here we go, message hello world. Now we will replace this message with something that is meaningful. We will segment the profile depending on the logic that we type in the configuration. Let's go back to our code. First, we will need some init information, so it means what kind of data we need to configure this plugin. Secondly, we will need a segment name. We'll name segment. I will leave it empty. This will be string. I will need what kind of action we have to perform. Action, there are 2 possible actions. I will just make an add action as default. Under what condition this segmentation should trigger. So this is our init data. Let's restart the server. Here we go. You can see this is a default configuration, and right here we can type like frequent user and condition. Now we have to replace this. What we'll do, we have to get a condition and see if the condition is true. I will use an internal parser that parses the conditions. This is how we use this package. I'll find under process engine action, I'll find the action if. I know that action if uses this package, this parser, and it's in here. See, condition. We'll copy and paste it into my plugin. Let's go back. Now I will see how to execute this. This is condition evaluate true and false. Okay, I will make the same here. This is my condition. I will need a configuration condition. So in the init here we have our configuration. Actually, this is it, and I will create an object that will hold this information and we'll call it a configuration. I will place it under the model configuration. This is a class, we'll call it configuration, and this is a Pydantic class. It has to extend the base model class from Pydantic. It should have the following data. So let's go to plugin. It should have segment, action, and condition. So segment is a string and is required. Action is a string and its default value is add, and we have condition with a string and its default value is empty. Oh, actually I will leave it like this. So we have our configuration. Pydantic will just see if the schema of the configuration is correct, that we have segment, action, string, and all the fields are required. If any of the field is not required, we just do it like this. It's none, or better way, you just make it optional like this. So let's go back to the plugin, and here we make something like this. Self assigned to self config will create a configuration object. Okay, now we have our configuration, and here we'll pass quarks. Now we have our configuration. It will be validated through this class, and we have a config property. We use it here, and we have condition that will be extracted for our init and the configuration that is made by the user. We need also dot. What is dot? Dot is a dot accessor that we can get like this. Dot equals self get a dot, and you have to pass payload. And here we go. We have a condition that is evaluated, and we can see if it's true or false. We don't need this. Right here we have to check what kind of action we have to perform. So for example, if self config action equals add, let's make it lowercase, add, then we'll add something here, else we'll remove something. If the condition evaluation says that it's not met, then we do nothing, so we will just return our payload and do nothing. So you can see that we have just input with a payload and output is also a payload, so that's why I typed here payload. Right now we've checked if the action is add or remove, and in here we'll have to type how to add a segment. For that we will need a copy of our profile. We have internal state of the plugin. Self profile will provide you a profile object, but we need a copy of this. So to do that you have to just type profile and get a dictionary from this profile and provide it here as a set of properties. You have to include this domain profile. This is how you get a copy of a profile. There's another way. If you don't want to transfer this object into the dictionary, you can use dot. We have dot in this example, so we use dot, and this is the same. Once we have a profile, we have to add a segment to this profile. So profile.segments append, and we add self-config.segment. This is the name of the segment that was provided in the configuration, but we could do something like this also. Try if .config segment is not in segments. That means if we do not have a segment, we will add it. The same we will do with removing profile, but this time we'll just remove it. You can see that this can be moved right here, upper, and we have our plugin, I guess. So what it does, it makes a copy of a profile. It just adds to that copy segment or remove it. But well, this is done on the copy. You have to replace the internal profile that is in the flow. Self profile replace, and just type profile. Here we go, the profile is replaced and we can return the payload. Okay, let's do it like this because the result is always the same. Let's install the plugin again. Again, I will add this module. And here we go, we have some invalid syntax at line 20. Here we go, this is our line. Yes, there is not in. This is our error. I have added the plugin again, and here we can see that the name is changed. Let's go and try to run it. Now I have to configure the segment. Let's name it test, and the condition, let's leave it like this, and we should see an error. There's an error. See what it says: unexpected end of file. That means that the parsing of the condition was incorrect. So just go and see and try to make it better. So profile bigger, profile stats is it bigger than 10. It should be okay right now. Now it's okay. Let's see the profile. Segments are empty because our views are less than 10. Our visits are less than 10. Okay, now let's change it. Let's make it, if the visits are less than 10, just add segment test. Go. Let's go to the debug data and see the profile. Here we go. We have a test segment. We just test it for removal. Remove, save, remove not in the list. Okay, let's see. Segments remove segment. Okay, now we have to do, if segment is in segments, then remove. Now it works. Let's go and see the segment was removed. One last thing we have to do, we have this ugly advanced plugin configuration when you have to configure a JSON file. We would like to use a decent form. How to do that? I will just show you how it's done in other plugins and we can copy this. So let's start with the if plugin. You can see that there's this section that configures the form. Let's go and copy it and we will pass it into our plugin. We have to import this object, and this is from Tracardi plugin SDK. The same here and here and here. Okay, what it does, it just informs the Tracardi how the whole form should look like. We have groups and we have fields. This is the most important part. We have a form field object and we have to connect it somehow with our init data. So the first one is segment. Okay, maybe we can connect the condition because we have condition right now. And this is condition statement, description, brief provide, condition for segmentation. If the condition is met, then the profile will be segmented to defined segment. This is a text area. This is the component we will use. This is text area, and we'll say a label for condition. Let's give it some more form fields. Copy it, and then we have a segment. Name it segment name, short description. We will not use this time the text area. This is just a simple text. The label, we name it segment, and we have an action. And action. Okay, action. Remember, you have to match the ID with the key of the init, and this time it's select, and we have to provide items. And the item is add segment. This is the label that we'll see, and this is the value. Remove segment. This is our form. Segment is a text area. Let's make it segment 1. We want to remove segment, and this is our condition profile. So let's just go to see our configuration. Configuration changed. So you can see every time you change something in here, it gets replicated here. But if you change something in here, it should get replicated in here. So this is somehow connected. Let's test it, run, debug data, see our profile. Here we go, segment 2, because our visits views are less than 10. Okay, and that's it. We have our plugin. Okay, thank you for watching and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more tutorials.